You are listening to the Glimmer Gang podcast, a podcast dedicated to the competitive aspects of Disney Lorcana, and we hope you guys enjoy this episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Glimmer Gang podcast. We have another Glimmer Bomb. We haven't done one in a long time, and this time we have a special guest, WalterYensid, as he's known in the Discord and on mostly all socials that I've seen him on. Walter, how are we doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. Glad to be part of this. And I mean, hey, you gotta love the Glimmer Bombs. Like, just always a good time.
Yeah. So who are you? How did you come to be a part of this Lorcana community? And why are you so excited about the game?
Yeah, so I really became part of the Lorcana community originally back during D23. I was
Hmm.
looking for some place to talk to people about Lorcana about because it was hard to find people on other socials, even Twitter, that were really just super hyped up about it. Managed to find the Discord, and it was just neat getting to see people get the cards. Unfortunately, at D23, the cards sold out on a Friday and on a Sunday, the literal person in front of me. So
Oh
it was
no.
heartbreaking, honestly. It made my D23 experience negative looking back on it. I was just not having a good day both those days. But you know what? It was fun because the community at least continued to keep me involved and keep me
Hmm.
kind of positive. And
Yeah.
now all these card releases and reveals, it's just so much fun. I mean, I love the artwork and I don't think I'm gonna be an amazing player, but I just kind of want to collect the cards. Like that
Yeah,
to me
for
is
sure.
super exciting.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Walter here works at ICC or Indianapolis Convention Center, where GenCon is going to be held. Uh, so can I ask you, how did you start working there, and what led to you taking a position there?
Yeah, so originally I was a cast member at Disney most
Oh,
recently doing tour guide work, which
cool.
was the literal best. Then, of course, COVID hit. So, they laid us all off. So I was like, I need to find something else to do.
Hmm.
And I have a tourism background. So it kind of worked out. People at the convention center reached out and were like, hey, we have this position open. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So it's a lot of fun. And on the weekly, we get unique events that we host for Indianapolis.
Hmm.
And it is amazing just to see all the different groups. I mean, we have high profile people. It's like last week, we had the vice president of the US in. So
Wow. There you
it's one
go.
of those, it's always an exciting week, no matter what group is there.
So, can I ask what you specifically do at the convention center?
Yeah, so I help out with the operations. So just making sure that events are kind of going smoothly, help out with some of the logistics and just getting any type of credentials out that are needed. And
Hmm.
then just general technology as well. So if there's any tech that needs to be fixed or if I have to code something on the back end, usually I am helping out with that end, which it's a lot to do, but also it gives me a good workout every day. So,
There you go. Yeah. uh, so focusing on Lorcana, obviously, there's going to be a lot of people going to Gen Con that are it's their first time. Their main reason, just like myself, and I think most of the Glimmer or all the Glimmer gang, it's our first time going because of this game. And so, for all those Lorcana listeners who this is their first time going, first time being in the convention center, what are some baseline tips you have for them for navigating the venue?
Yeah, so navigating the venue, it's a little confusing because the signage can be hard to read when there's a bunch of people in the hallways.
Hmm.
I would highly recommend pulling up one of our online maps in advance. If you just look at the Indiana Convention Center and look up the word map, it'll kind of give you a nice 3D map. So it helps out since going from first floor to second floor can be a little confusing if you don't see the escalators. And it's one of those that's helpful to have the map. It makes it easier. Also, strongly recommend if you are able to bring at least a water bottle, it could be refillable. We do have refillable water stations that are environmentally friendly. On top of that, try to bring at least some snacks
Hmm.
because the vendors at the actual inside of the area do charge quite a bit. And that's more so because they expect you just to quickly grab a snack and go back to your seat. So if you have a few snacks to tide you over for a few hours, that'll save you a lot of money in the long run. But we also do have our food trucks. We have over 50 unique food trucks this year, and they're from all over Indiana and even some from other states. And the quality is absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, I know I'm really excited to try those food trucks. I've heard a lot about it. Uh, and being, I'm not from Indianapolis, but being going to a school that is right outside the city, I'm really excited to see what restaurants that I knew coming in that have food trucks there and also trying new ones. And so I think for those that like good select group of us that have experience in India, I think that's going to be really cool to see like what can we try new, and then we can take that back to our friends and our family members who live in that city and say, hey, let's go try this. And I think that's something that's really cool as well.
Oh yeah.
So and then any like secret tips that you may have for navigating the venue that may make it even easier for those that it may not become apparent off the naked eye.
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest tip I would give you is if you want to go from one place to another, sometimes it is technically faster just to go up to the second floor and then kind of work your way across, take the escalator down,
Oh.
because there is a lot of times it just becomes a bottleneck of people trying to go the first floor navigating. If you go second, it might be technically a little bit longer of a walk, but it's a lot easier because usually people don't go on the second floor because there's no exhibit hall, there's no auction hall, and there's really only a few select panels up there. So it makes it a whole lot easier and you get some breathing room.
Awesome. Well, I will definitely be using that when we see a bottleneck at the event. Uh, so you were just saying, talking about the food just a little bit ago. What are some of the best food spots that you would recommend, or food trucks that you've had that you want people to try at their stay or while they are at the venue?
Yeah, so I mean, personally, me and my friends, our favorite is Island Noodles. It's one of those, is it kind of normal looking? Yes, but the way they make it is so good where I have a few coworkers who go every day just to Island Noodles. That's all they do. They don't do Gen Con, but they will get in line for Island Noodles even if it's an hour. That's how much they love it and support it. Otherwise, nearby restaurants, the Shapiro's, I forget how to pronounce the full name, but Shapiro's, it's really good. It's worth the wait, and you could always try to book ahead. Here
Uh-huh.
in Izzy's is probably my favorite downtown place. That one is such good quality food. And Ratskeller is a really good German restaurant. It's not too far away at all. Amazing. The final one I would say is Cafe Patachu.
Oh yeah,
That
there
one
you go.
is
There you go.
just
I love
like
that place.
one block north. It's really good food. The pricing is not bad, honestly, for what you get. And you could get
Yeah,
breakfast any time of the day. Like, who doesn't love that?
exactly. Yeah. So Patachu or Cafe Patachu, I've had that many times being at school down there. Have you had Brew Burger at all? Will you?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
guessing you've heard of it
Yeah,
and
I've
know it.
had Brew Burger a few times. I like it. It's good. I wish there was more around the area because it's
True.
that
Yeah.
good. But yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah. Uh, so then moving on to best spots, what do you think some of the best places to charge electronics? Are there a lot of places to do that for those creators who need a space to like plug in their phones, plug in their laptops, maybe their cameras for a little bit, and let those charge for another day, another rest of the day of content creation?
Yeah, so there is one spot that I would say go to. If you go to the second floor, right between the Sagamore Ballroom and kind of the Skywalk to the Hyatt, it's just a bunch of chairs. Typically, they'll have one event only where it's where you get to control the giant battle robot Legos.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, they just have chairs which are next to chargers. That's your best spot. And also, it's a nice editing spot since sometimes they do have tables available for you just to sit at and do editing work on a coffee table. Otherwise, on the first floor, it is really limited spot wise. You're just going to have to hug a wall and hope there's an outlet nearby because they only hold about two phones for every, I'd say, 30 yards, which is still fine, but it's not
Yeah.
the best ratio considering the number of people.
Mm-hmm. Uh, so yeah, I think for creators, this is just a message from me. Make sure you have extra batteries, extra battery packs. I know is something that we've talked about having portable chargers, things that if you need to charge, it's a dire circumstance, but hopefully you're able to plug stuff in at your hotels overnight and be able to do that and not have to worry about frantically plugging in something so you can record something on a little bit, but you know you have that extra battery. So, and then going off of that and like editing and like needing places to relax and take a break, how much space is there for that? Or do you need to like go to Lucas Oil maybe or go back to your hotel? How much space in ICC specifically is there for relaxation and room to take a break?
So with GenCon, considering we're on pace to break a record for sales sold for it,
Hmm.
you're really not going to find a good spot inside the actual convention center. I mean, outside of the second floor by Sagamore, it's it's really just kind of a every person for themselves because there's so many people. I would personally just say if you need a breathing place, if you take the walkway from Hall A towards the JW Marriott, the one that goes over the street,
Hmm.
that one usually is a nice place to sit down. There's usually one or two chargers. People use it just to go from place to place, and it's pretty safe, all things considered. Otherwise, your hotel probably would be the best spot to edit videos because, by all means, the noise level is pretty high no matter where you are at the
Yeah.
convention center.
Yeah. So yeah, just I think echoing that for everyone who's listening. Try to see if you can edit at night. I think that's something that is a very good idea. See if you can get all your content out during the day and like short form content or Instagram post. Obviously, you can post that from your phone, but if you're like posting a YouTube video, maybe try to do that in your hotel room so you can enjoy the day and also not have to deal with the hassle of noise and stuff like that during the night. And then I also wanted to ask about the connection between ICC and Lucas Oil. I know I've seen like those doors, but what is in Lucas Oil that you won't find in ICC?
Yeah, so Lucas Oil has quite a few events this year, mainly a lot of card game championships. If it's not in exhibit halls A or B, it tends to be in Lucas, such as
Okay.
Flux on Saturday night. They also do have some open gaming tables. However, those tend to fill up a little bit quicker because the air conditioning in Lucas is honestly stronger than the one in the convention center.
Okay.
But it's a nice walk over. You technically don't have to go outside to get to it, assuming the gates are open. If you just go down Capitol Avenue past exhibit halls J and K, you can actually take an underground walkway, which lets you right into the middle of Lucas, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's just, I would say, even if you don't have an event there, go ahead and just take a look at Lucas. It's really pretty, and it's just fun to see people playing games on the field. Like
Yeah.
it's unheard of.
Yeah, I went with my school to an event in Lucas Oil, and we got to go down on the field and just even after like a football game, that was cool. But to imagine people hashing it out with some cardboard seems very cool. Uh, so yeah, my final question for you is: are there any other tips or things people need to know when it comes to the venue that they may not think of that they may need to prepare for this event?
Yeah, so one thing I would highly recommend is Googling Parking Hero because a lot of places nearby do require reservations for parking, especially
Hmm.
the garages that are connected. Make sure you do have a parking section at least reserved if you're able to. Obviously, the closer you get to Gen Con, the pricier it's going to be, but it's a lot safer because not necessarily all of the overground parking spots within a mile radius are necessarily the safest, but the ones that are in the garage tend to be safer, and honestly they're cheaper than the overground ones, which blows my mind. But just make sure you have a parking spot to avoid that hassle. And if you do need to drop off anything at Gen Con, there is a little kind of pull through porte just off of Maryland Street, and it's closer towards Capitol, like corner of Maryland and Capitol. You could always look up a map. You could pull in your car there, be there for about 10 minutes, drop off people, drop off things. It makes it really easy in case you need to drop off food or anything without wanting to leave the entire venue.
Yeah, I know you've mentioned that because I'm coming down a bit early to get jerseys for the HQ. But Walter, I want to say thank you for joining me today to talk about all this. I know we're all really excited for this event. Obviously, you'll be working it, but also enjoying Lorcana. At least I hope you
Yes.
will be.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, so I want to say thank you, and I can't wait to see you next week. It's going to be a great week for all of us, and it's going to be an amazing time.
Yeah. And thanks again for having me here. And by all means, if anyone ever wants to reach out, feel free to do so. Just WalterYensid on YouTube, WalterYensid on Twitter as well, or I guess X.com, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
But I do some retro gaming, mainly Disney games, and I upload it there. And I've also been doing some series working on mini documentaries, including one talking about the exclusive cards that Lorcana might have in the parks just in a few months. So it's a fun project, and I'm looking forward to doing some more.
Awesome. Well, I will link all of that below, but I want to say thank you for everyone for listening, whether you're on Spotify, YouTube, or your podcatcher of choice. And Glimmer on.